Hello, we are here for one more lesson of this SprutCAM training course. The topic for today's lesson will be the geometrical model structure. What we've done for this video was import this model. This is something similar to millions of other examples. This was imported through a step file from other CAD system. And the idea here is to show you how the information it is organized inside SprutCAM. So we have on this left side these white windows where the information is split among several things. First, we've talked already, we have different tabs, one tab for model, one tab for machining, and one tab for simulation. What it happens, it is each one of these tabs activates different things. In our particular case regarding the geometrical model, this is active when we click into the model, which is the first one. So we are inside what we want to see. Then the information, it is organized by folders. It's very similar to what we have on a folder or a tree of folders inside Windows. So we have a tree that is started by the full model. Then inside we have a part, one or more. We have imported this file, sample1 STP, it's a step file. And inside you see it is growing inside the structure. We can activate different things. First, we can create groups, which it is something very nice, and we can group different kinds of elements, not only if we have more than one file imported or a set of solids or surfaces, whatever we want here. So we can create groups, so we can create each time a new group, and then we can organize the information inside these groups. Anyway, what we have here is a group that was created from the import of the file. It is something called a solid because it was able to create a solid. And when we open all of this, so when you come to the solid, we can see below, because every time we click in one of these entries, something happened to this part of the dialog box. So in our last folder or last place where the information is organized, the solid, the information it is split among all the elements that compose this solid. So which in this particular case are the faces. We can have several types of geometrical objects or geometry objects. We can have faces, we can have meshes, we can have curves. All of these can come from the models. We can create them also here, but the important concept it is to understand that we have different types of elements. So for example, now we can choose one or more elements by direct picking in this list or directly in the drawing area. So if we click in one element, you see that this element it is immediately selected also on the list. And we have this slider to go through all the elements. And the idea is to create or to be able to create a different set of actions on this object. So for that we have different menus here, different icons that assess different things. So examples. I can click in one object and then do this on off, visibility, okay, like this. So we can do this on off. Do it on now. We can also choose to change the properties of an object. So the same object I can do change on these properties. On the dimensions I cannot do it. I can do it the name, for example, give it a different name. I can do it, this is a general items. I can do the visual, I can do it visible here or not. I can change this isometric quantity of curves, the tolerance, more visible. I can change, for example, the color, which is more visible. Let me do an OK. And it changes the color. I can do, in terms of machining, to define a different thing, which is consider this a double-sided face. Okay. Maybe in this particular model it is not important to have this as double-sided, but okay, it's a possibility. And I can have also some parameters defined under these properties. We have also simply a definition for the color, okay? And we can also choose entities, for example, to cut and to put on the clipboard, so copy, cut, paste. We can copy, we can paste it, and for example, we can delete it into a yes, and it's deleted. So we can create different things around here. It is interesting also the idea of, for example, do a transformation to the object. So every time we click selecting an object, we can activate the right mouse button and choose different things, or on top of the object, do this with the right mouse button, and we access a lot of things. So copy, cut, paste, select everything, select by color, whatever. We can do things like, and this is important, a transformation. And the transformation, it is like this: a move, a rotate, a scale, a mirror, to change the coordinate system. But the simplest one, for example, move, and I can do it in Z, for example, 10, and happens like this. Okay, many things can be done around this. We can also, on this place, when we are dealing with singular objects, we have a set of icons on the top which allow us to create different things like drawing, and we assess a mode that is allow us to create things, geometry, and we will recover this topic later on. We can do a sketch, and if we create a sketch like the drawing, an entry, it is placed on the tree, and you see inside the drawing we have a circle which we choose, but we can control this visibility like the other things present on this tree, doing on off. So, and you see it controls the visibility of the objects. The same way we can create a sketch. We can create an intersection, for example, with a plan, so creating curves or not. I will not do it now. We can create what is called here SU faces. This is good when we have openings, so it is a command that will heal the geometry in case of need. We can create also text, and this is important because we have milling operations to engrave text, so it is interesting under this perspective. And we can, if we choose one entity, we can triangulate, which it is something not with no particular needs at this moment. And we can, again, we can do the transformation. It's another place to assess this transformation, to do a projection, so we can project the selected surfaces, or the boundaries of the surfaces on one plan, for example, to create the silhouette of a part, and we can join the curves also to create, for example, a spline. And finally, we can triangulate selected curves also as another option. All of these, we will see this manipulation or handling of these 2D entities and these operations in one of the future lessons, which will be focused specifically in these actions. Today I want to talk about a couple of different possibilities related with this geometry model, which are, for example, the possibility to select a contour and to select the tangent edges. For example, I'm not sure now, I probably ruined my my model. It is to import it again, just to be sure that is correct. Okay, do an OK now. And for example, if I click in this edge here twice, you see that a selection was done to the tangent edges. We can have a nice selection also, for example, in one hole, and the program will select all the similar holes. In this case, we have 3 additional holes, which is also quite nice. And besides, we have the geometric characteristics of this hole, like the diameter, not the hole itself, but the face which correspond to the hole. So we have the diameter and we have the height of that surface. If we select this one, we can have this kind of display in terms of the geometry, or this one. So we can have things like this. What can we have more in this thing? We can have also a very interesting feature regarding, which I probably don't have in this case. Let me try to intersect. Okay, I'll create an intersection, which I suppose will create an entity like this. Okay, the section. And if I select my curve, I have a filter. Okay, I select my curve. I was expecting, because it's a section, I was expecting to select the other similar ones, but okay, I cannot select it here because it's a section and these are, it's like a group, so I cannot select it individually. So I'm not able to show you this in this particular model, which it is in fact similar to the selection of this entity, of this whole. It will create a different choice, like this one selecting the circle, which in this particular case it cannot be done. But I think it was understood, the concept of this selection. These are a couple of strong ideas for the handling of the geometrical model in terms of the way it is organized and what can be done with this model. So I think the main highlights are explained. You can see a couple of more details inside area 51, where we have some additional concepts. Anyway, we will have a couple of examples in terms of SprutCAM for sure, doing all the milling, the creation of elements, in some particular cases the import of models. So all of these things will be seen and displayed in those videos that we will start to share very shortly from now. In this meantime, if you have some questions, some comments that you want to send us, so we'll give you all the necessary help, support, so you know how to reach us already.